for a comedian, but he's more than that. He's actually a scholar too, and a truly, truly funny guy. Here he is explaining why it's worth preventing them from taking us to year zero. Watch.
But that was the thing I really wanted to capture, is that whenever I engage with these activists online, it's the sheer certainty that it never crosses their mind that they might be wrong. It never crosses their mind that their opponents might just have a different worldview. They just assume everyone else is evil, we're right, everything must change. And that to me is dangerous and scary, but also funny. I mean, the sheer arrogance of that is quite funny, you know.
And the lack of self-awareness.
No self-awareness at all. I mean, you go, their view of humanity is something like this, because, I mean, you've noticed the way they're trying to destroy history. So they will want to topple statues, rename streets, do everything that Orwell wrote about, in fact. And their idea is that up until now, human beings have got it wrong. That we've always been evil and just wrong on every issue. And now they've come along and they are morally pure and they've got all the answers. And they will never be judged in the future by future generations, but of course they will. But they think they've got it all right, so they're going to just sort of dismantle society as it is, start from scratch, let's call it year zero. And that's where they're coming from. And I find that level of arrogance is always funny. And satirists and comedians have always gone after Puritans, always gone and played Puritans and Pharisees and, you know, these kind of figures. And actually, at least the Puritans had a sense of self-awareness. They believed that they were unworthy before God.
Exactly.
They had a sense of their own fallibility. It was actually quite fundamental to their belief system. So when I use the word Puritan to describe these people, I'm actually not really comparing it to those people. I'm talking about this idea of a new purity culture, and it is a purity culture. They believe that unless you are 100% on board with all of their ideas, you are, you know, damned, effectively. You are on the outside. And that's why you see the activists of today always going on about, you know, how language is dangerous, how words are violence, how jokes normalize hate, because they believe that everything is language. But of course there is a reality beyond language. But that was all very much part of my studies and my interest. So I read a lot of people like Judith Butler of the world, you know, who has a background in literature as well. I read those sorts of people who are kind of the precursors to what we're seeing now. You know, if you look at a lot of what the activists are saying now, it is derived from, it's not the same as, but it is derived from that sort of postmodern thought of the 60s and 70s. So I think I'd read a lot of the background stuff about this. But then also I am fascinated by culture and by the way, by people's ideas. I like to try and take people on good faith and listen to what they've got to say. And I've read a lot of these people's books, a lot of these activists' books, out of interest more than anything. You know, I think it's important to read things you don't agree with.
Yes.
And, you know, even in the worst, you know, even like something like Robin DiAngelo, White Fragility, which is a terrible book, but every now and then there's a kernel of truth. Every now and then there's something you think, okay, there's something to that.
Well, sure, yeah.
You know, and so it's just useful.